women who get together with other women are healthier, happier, and stronger.
Now we can make some figure eights with our hips. Figure eight, figure eight, figure eight, figure eight. Woo!
By the time I met Mickey, I had already contemplated suicide and I was developing a plan. That's how dark my life had gotten.
Because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me.
Welcome to Prime Time for Women, the TV show for and about women in their prime. Although the show has a new format, as we strive to keep everyone safe during COVID-19, like Patty sitting way down there and I'm sitting here, our guests today, both our guests, are going to be familiar to viewers. Both Patty Forehand and Lesley Whalley were on previous episodes of Prime Time for Women, back when taping a live show before an engaging audience was the normal. Today, we're having a different setup, but we're all on board. As women in their prime, nothing holds these two women back. They are busy reinventing themselves, discovering new possibilities, and pursuing new challenges as they live their lives to the fullest. Patty Forehand taught elementary school for 30 years before publishing her first novel. She's a motivational speaker and a blogger, and also teaches professional development courses for teachers at the NASA Research Center. When she isn't writing, speaking, or teaching, she can be found doing stand-up in comedy clubs all over the Southeast. She's Prime Time for Women's newest poster child, imagining new possibilities for her life and then pursuing them with gusto. She joins us today to talk about her first novel, Time Out for Teachers, a story of a teacher who, with the help of a Harrison Ford lookalike, can't wait to hear that part, seeks justice on behalf of a murdered student. She's currently working on a sequel, the second book in the Torch Teacher series. Welcome, Patty. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here. So, Patty, it sounds as if you're always busy. You're always on the move. What did you do and how did you cope during COVID-19?
Well, I think like the majority of people, for the first couple of weeks, I sat on the couch and watched television and ate bonbons, but then when I grew tired of that, I did a few shows on Instagram and on Zoom for comedy, and then I decided I just needed to get back into an exercise routine and eating healthy and doing all that, because by that point I realized it was going to take a while to get back to normal.
Well, after eating all those bonbons, right?
Yes. So I think, I spent it trying to reflect on things that I could do to make the time pass, but, in a quality way.
Right.
So, yep, that's about it.
And then you also had written a book a long time ago.
Yes.
And during COVID, you had the time to get that out and pursue publishing that book. Can you give us the title of the book and maybe a little summary of the book?
Yes, the book is called Time Out for Teacher, and I taught for 30 years, and I know I wrote it about a decade ago, actually. I was seeing some children that were coming from some things at home that weren't really great, and I realized at the time that the system really needed some work to get these kids some help. And I was frustrated. And so I wrote this book, and I started it out as a teacher who had a student who was going through something at home, and they were trying to help that student. But it just turned into this big vigilante book, and with all kinds of dark comedy, and it has violence and some mature situations with that Harrison Ford lookalike.
Okay.
But yes, it just turned into something, and at the time I sought an agent, and I found one, Judith Bruni at Leslie Rivers agency, but that was during this financial upheaval, and all of the publishing houses were merging and letting agents go and things like that, and so we decided, after it went through editing and revising, and it went through reading circles, and I had it just right, ready for publication, we decided to wait a few months. And then I got busy with other things, and
doing your comedy, right?
Yes, and she became ill and passed away, and so I kind of just tabled it. And during the quarantine, I thought, hey, this is the best time to take that back out and publish it myself. I didn't want to go through seeking an agent again at that time, because it takes so long to find, someone to support your book and, to make those connections. So I thought I'll do it myself. So I did it on Amazon.
That's great. And how long is the book?
The book is over 200 pages. I think it's like 230 pages. So,
okay, so
yes.
that's a big book. And
Yes.
it's available on ebook right now on Amazon.
It is available on Amazon as an ebook, and you don't have to have a Kindle to purchase it or read it. You can read it on your laptop or your phone. And it will be out in paperback. I had a hold up because of the cover. That's the only thing that's holding the paperback up right now. But soon, hopefully, I keep hearing maybe 2 weeks. So
Oh, that's great.
I'm hoping it'll be out
That's
soon.
great. Before we take a break, I was wondering if you could just tell us, is there any author or person that really inspires you in your writing process?
Well, I love to read all kinds of books. I love Lee Child, who writes the Jack Reacher books. I love, it just depends on what mood I'm in. I like James Patterson. I like the Stephanie Plum books by Ivanovich. It just depends on what I feel like that day. But I read everything. And but as far as writing, my mother was an author. She published short stories. She had short stories in journals and things like that when I was young. And she always pushed me to be the writer. She said, I think you would be a great novelist. And, so when I wrote my first story in second grade, she was already seeing me as an author. So
Oh, that is so
yes.
cool. Well, you're such an inspiration, and I can't wait to hear more about it. But first, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after this message.
I was afraid, I was in pain, and I was on medications. I didn't want to be just another number. I wanted to be somewhere not far from my family, and somewhere that I knew I had the right doctor. The staff was simply wonderful. The manner, the professionalism, the protocol, it's 100%.
Seems like everyone you meet today claims to be a content creator. Well, at Antietam Media Services, we're much more than just content creators. We're producers, directors, and editors that are never afraid to roll up our sleeves and bring our expertise to you. From full-blown live multicam productions live streamed to the world, to single-camera commercial production, we've got the gear, we've got the people, and we've got the drive to give your event or business the exposure it deserves. We've been doing this since 1981, and Antietam Media Services has produced tens of thousands of hours of live content and thousands of commercials that put your name on the networks and on the digital platforms that provide you the biggest return on investment. It's a big world out there, and we're ready to help you tell your story. Call, email, or log on to AntietamMediaServices.com and tell us more about your project. 4 decades of experience and never afraid of a challenge. We're Antietam Media Services.
The DVR. It's changed the way we watch TV. And now, Antietam Broadband takes you to the next level with TiVo. Find your favorites on cable or streaming video faster with voice-activated integrated search. Record up to 6 channels at once and watch from any TV in your home. TiVo from Antietam Broadband. It will change your life. Call today or visit AntietamBroadband.com to learn more.
You know the difference between a minor fall and a major fall. But do you know where to go when they occur? If you are having an urgent but non-emergency healthcare problem like a minor fall, flu symptoms, or sinus infection, visit our urgent care center. We are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. For a major fall and other critical or complex medical matters, you should come right into our emergency department. Now you know where to go.
I'm glad you're still with us because we have a lot more to talk to Patty about. But before I do that, I wanted to give a shout out to Marcia Toder. She is a master gardener and she has a beautiful yard, and she made these lovely flowers for our Prime Time for Women set today, looking to kind of make cozy this social distancing environment. So thank you, Marcia, for your sharing your talents with us at Prime Time for Women. So Patty, I did want to ask you if you have any advice for other women in their prime who are interested in either pursuing a writing career or have other dreams in general. What advice do you have to encourage people to do that?
Well, I think you should just get off the couch and do it. You have a lot of people out there who try to tell you about the roadblocks and this and that, and if you listen to them, then you won't have the courage to do it. So, you know, just like Nike used to say it, just do it. Write your book. Find a way to publish it. If you want something instant, then, you know, get in touch with Kindle about their publishing format. And if I would also pursue an agent while you're publishing, self-publishing your first book, pursue an agent. Get some letters out there telling them about your book. Find out how to write proposals. You know, nowadays you can find anything online that teach you all the skills necessary in order to hook an agent or to get a publishing house interested in your book. So just do some research. But the main thing is just get up and do it. Don't sit around.
Don't listen,
Don't put it off, because I mean, you put it off and before you know it, you know, you have no time left. So
just don't listen to those naysayers, right?
No, do not listen to naysayers.
And I was wondering, just one more time, tell our viewers where they can get the book.
Okay, you can get my book on Amazon. It's called Time Out for Teacher by Patty Forehand. Right now it's only in e-format, but a couple of weeks it should be in paperback, hopefully. So either format you like, and that's it.
And Patty, you know, Prime Time for Women has a book club that meets every month, and it's tons of fun. I think we just had a meeting last week, and I think we had 11 people there, and we social distanced in my backyard, actually. It was tons of fun. We discussed rules for visiting, which is a great book. But I was wondering if we could have a special book club, if you would be willing to moderate that or host that book if we read Time Out for Teacher.
Yes, I would love to. I'd feel honored to do that.
Okay, and you would be welcome to come back to my house, or you could, you know, participate via Zoom. We would love to have not only have you participate in the discussion, but maybe fill us in on some of the backstory. So that'll be really fun. Yes. So maybe we'll think about August 25th.
That sounds wonderful.
Okay, now you're on the hook. We're going to put that out there. So I'm so glad you're here. And I did want to let people know that not too long ago, Patty was featured in the Washington Post along with 7 other women who were pursuing interesting careers in the second half of life. And recently, a renowned author, Michael Clinton, recently contacted her after reading the same article and seeing her on Prime Time for Women's TV show last fall. And he interviewed her for his upcoming book called Roar, which is kind of roar and be heard and see what happens in the second half of life. So I'm so excited about that. But that is exactly why Prime Time for Women exists, to change the narrative on aging. The second half of life is the prime time of life. It's the stage in life when I think you know enough to know better and wise enough to treasure every moment. Sort of like what you were just saying, Patty, self-imposed limitations are erased when we embrace possibilities. Mm-hmm. So I want to say to all of you, amazing people out there, if you know women who are challenging the culturally accepted version of aging, please nominate them to be a guest on our show by emailing me, Bernadette at primetimeforwomen.com. We can never celebrate too many women. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I was afraid, I was in pain, and I was on medications. I didn't want to be just another number. I wanted to be somewhere not far from my family and somewhere that I knew I had the right doctor. The staff was simply wonderful. The manner, the professionalism, the protocol, it's 100%.
Music makes an incredible impact in the lives of children, but some students in our schools cannot afford instruments. The Maryland Symphony Orchestra Instrument Bank collects musical instruments for these students to use in local schools. instruments donated by generous community members like you. Do you have musical instruments you no longer use? Contact the Maryland Symphony Orchestra today. Donate an instrument and change a child's life.
The DVR. It's changed the way we watch TV. And now, Antietam Broadband takes you to the next level with TiVo. Find your favorites on cable or streaming video faster with voice-activated integrated search. Record up to 6 channels at once and watch from any TV in your home. TiVo from Antietam Broadband. It will change your life. Call today or visit AntietamBroadband.com to learn more.
You know the difference between a minor fall and a major fall. But do you know where to go when they occur? If you are having an urgent but non-emergency healthcare problem like a minor fall, flu symptoms, or sinus infection, visit our urgent care center. We are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. For a major fall and other critical or complex medical matters, you should come right into our emergency department. Now you know where to go.
Welcome back. We just heard how Patty Forehand kept busy during the pandemic. What have you been up to? Have you been sick or caring for someone who was? Did you continue to work from home, or did you finally have that time to tackle the project you've been thinking about for years? Did you cook more or order takeout to support local restaurants? Did you read any good books or binge watch any great series on Netflix? Were you alone and bored, or was your home overflowing with people because you opened your door to family who needed a safe place to shelter during the pandemic? How did you fill your time? Did you do Sudoku, crossword puzzles, jigsaw puzzles? Did you take any online classes or learn how to Zoom? I learned how to Zoom. Here's a picture of me with 7 of my 8 siblings celebrating my youngest brother's 50th birthday, all of us wearing the red hats from our mom. More importantly, during my time at home, I turned the cat's bathroom into my study. Now that probably needs a little explaining. You see, my office has always been in the upstairs bedroom, which got on my husband's last nerve. But now, he said, can you please move it downstairs to the first floor of office? We have a perfectly good office. But I said, I can't, because that's where the cat's litter box is. And you know how cats' litter boxes are. They smell a little like kitty cats. Not stinky, but musty. Well, anyhow, we demoted the cat and we painted and redecorated the office, and now I have a beautiful study. That's one of the fun things we did during this pandemic. I also spent some time in the bathroom with my grandson, who lived with us for 5 weeks, and spent a lot of time unrolling toilet paper. I know, during a pandemic, no less. Well, anyhow, we're back here with phase 2, different format, Lesley sitting on the other side of the table. But whatever we did to survive the pandemic, we did it together and we got through it, and should be celebrated. We want to invite you to share your stories of how you spent your time during the pandemic. And if you post your pictures on Facebook or comment, you'll be eligible to win a $20 gift card to support a local restaurant. We'll draw this in the last Friday in August, so make sure you post your pictures and comments on our Facebook page. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Lesley Whalley to Prime Time for Women for the second time. She's going to tell us what she did during COVID-19. Lesley's an amazing artist who has as much heart as she does talent. She's well known for her activism and volunteer work in our community with Hospice, Bester Community Hope, and the Hagerstown Artists, just to name a few. With both her heart and her art, Lesley makes the world more beautiful. Thanks for being here, Lesley.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bernadette.
So, Lesley, I was wondering, during the pandemic, did you have a feeling of being cut off and lonely? I don't know. What was your feeling?
Well, yeah, I'm an empty nester. I have great kids, but the home is empty, and my husband works away. And so, yes, I had a lot of alone time.
And did you miss your grandkids?
Yes, very much.
I know.
Look, I got him a phone just before COVID, the shutdown, and so we FaceTime a lot about Lego and NASCAR.
Oh, great. And was your art a source of comfort to you during this time?
Yes, I actually had thought, in some of those, when we didn't know, and then suddenly it went from, it's going to be a few weeks to, we don't know when it's going to end. It was a huge source of comfort and peace of mind. And I'm in an international, it's actually an online class, but it's international. It's called Art to Life. And it's produced this massive community of artists all over the world. And everybody, they would do Zoom. I had to learn to Zoom too. And they would do these Zoom calls that were lessons, and then it would become social. And everybody was saying, oh, without my art, I don't know how I would do this.
And I know last October when you were on our show, I commissioned some artwork for Prime Time for Women, and you had a chance to solicit input from the audience. And let's take a quick little clip at that. What empowers you now?
Like being bold or integrity. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Friendships.
Yeah, it's very important, isn't it?
Wait a minute.
Gratitude. Yeah,
okay.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, that's a.
Okay, this is my painting, so keep going, guys.
Yeah. And are there any, when you're doodling, you're on the phone or you're talking to someone, you doodle, what sort of shapes do you enjoy? Is there some shape you've always gone to your whole life? I know I have one. Daisies. Sorry, what? Hearts, yeah.
Smiley face.
Spirals, yes.
Lesley, we got to see what the input was from those, from different women, and I saved the little piece of paper.
Yes, that's been in my studio.
Yes.
It was in my studio in town, and I had to move it to my studio at home.
And and now, can you help me unveil the artwork that you created?
Delight.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I just love these colors. It's so beautiful. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, Lesley will talk to you about the layers and this process that she used to create this beautiful piece of artwork, which all of you have represented because you shared your ideas to help make this the Prime Time for Women painting. So we'll be right back after this commercial break.
I was afraid, I was in pain, and I was on medications. I didn't want to be just another number. I wanted to be somewhere not far from my family and somewhere that I knew I had the right doctor. The staff was simply wonderful. The manner, the professionalism, the protocol, it's 100%.
Seems like everyone you meet today claims to be a content creator. Well, at Antietam Media Services, we're much more than just content creators. We're producers, directors, and editors that are never afraid to roll up our sleeves and bring our expertise to you. From full-blown live multicam productions live streamed to the world, to single-camera commercial production, we've got the gear, we've got the people, and we've got the drive to give your event or business the exposure it deserves. We've been doing this since 1981, and Antietam Media Services has produced tens of thousands of hours of live content and thousands of commercials that put your name on the networks and on the digital platforms that provide you the biggest return on investment. It's a big world out there, and we're ready to help you tell your story. Call, email, or log on to AntietamMediaServices.com and tell us more about your project. 4 decades of experience and never afraid of a challenge. We're Antietam Media Services.
So it has been so fun getting to share this painting with all of you because so much of this painting is represented, right,
yes.
Lesley?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Lesley, now we get to talk a little bit about what this painting means and the process that you followed. So you've been doing large acrylic paintings for about 10 years. Did this particular painting present any special challenges for you?
A little bit, because I'm used to using like my intuition. I don't pre-plan it. It sort of comes out and I follow the lead.
It's a natural expression of you,
right?
very
much. But then I had a list of, and it was so exciting to have the guests' input, and I can actually remember where people were sat, and I can remember the audience. And so when I was painting, I can remember a particular lady asking for particular color or a particular shape.
Right.
So sometimes it was a challenge getting them all in there without affecting the the design. So I didn't want too many words too obvious, because then it would become, a little bit more about reading it rather than taking it in as a piece of art.
Yeah, so Lesley, when I look at this, though, it really calls me to study it and to look at my focus. There's an overall picture, but also I find myself being drawn to different elements. Maybe talk about that and how you use contrast.
Well, thank you. Strong design comes from leading the eye. And so I try to create I will travel all over the painting. It's about, there's many layers, many layers.
Yeah, and I loved you told me when we talked about this earlier about some in places there's 10 layers, as much to 15.
Yeah.
And you were talking about our lives are layered. Maybe you could expound on that.
I feel, we don't always show all of ourselves, often the quieter side, and so it is about things are hidden, and often strengths, like behind some of the layers is friendship and integrity, which are some of the words the audience felt were important to at this time in their lives. And so they're not front and center, so sometimes you have to look a little bit harder to see them. But that's like how we are.
Right, and the love is down at the bottom of that, and to me that's sort of the foundation of Prime Time for Women, right?
It is because from love you have gratitude and appreciation, and you get a better life.
Yeah. The other thing I think I remember you talking about was this idea that we reveal different things at different times, and we hide aspects of ourselves, and that to me resonated. I was like, oh, I love that about this painting.
So that's why there's bold parts like the red rectangle, and some of the darker colors. It's that moment when you have to be strong and bold, and then there's the softer parts where you have to look in deeper, well, like you do when you know people.
Right. So as a woman in her prime, can you tell us some of the ways that you continue to challenge yourself and you grow?
Well, I've set myself a goal of seeing how good an artist I can be by the time. Well, it's kind of like my husband retires,
right?
But I just want to see how far I can push it, and how much success I can get.
And that sort of goes back to you participating in that international class, right?
Right. Yes.
Have you been challenged by that group?
Oh, very much, because I didn't go to art school or anything, so I'm self-taught, and I knew I didn't know, I didn't know some of the principles of art and of design, and. I went to it as a class, but I've actually found as a community, especially during the
community
COVID.
Support.
Yes, yeah, and it's as women, as men, and from all over the world, people in Iran and Australia and it's New Zealand, everywhere, and they come in on these Zoom chats, and so we have a lesson, and it turns into a social and.
Okay.
So,
That's great. I love that. You're so talented, and sometimes I think to myself, I wish I had pursued art, but I guess maybe it's too late. Is it?
No, it's never ever too late. In fact, there's a known fact in the art world that a lot of people find art later in their lives because they have that time and they feel that, and it doesn't have to. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I think we put a lot of expectation. Sistine Chapel roof. Just go for it. Stick figures.
Stick figures.
Yeah.
It's like exercise. Just do it, right?
And it can be knitting, it can be art, music, it's all creativity.
That's great. Well, there you have it. We can all be artists if we give ourselves permission. It's like so many areas of life. If we grant ourselves permission, eliminate fear of failure, and revel in the joy of present and new possibilities, we will find them. Thomas Merton once said, "Art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time." May all of us remember these words of wisdom as we listen intently to the inner calling to express our creativity. And please remember to post the pictures of your creative endeavors on Prime Time for Women's Facebook page. We want to marvel at your talent. Thanks for joining us for today's show. We'll see you next time.